So, growing up as a regular Nigerian girl, I just wanted to live the dream, find a boyfriend, fall in love, and finally attend weddings without aunties asking, "When are you getting married?" But somehow, my village people had other plans. I always ended up with the wrong guys. Jesus Christ, men so wrong, even Nollywood would reject them as characters. My name is Nkechi, and this is the story of my life. Let me take you back to one of my first disasters. I had just met this guy, tall, dark, with the kind of smile that could convince NEPA to bring back lights. We went on a date to a nice restaurant. Everything was going well until the food arrived. My dear people, this guy started eating like he was in a wrestling match with the plates. He chewed so loudly, even the waiter felt disgusted. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was so embarrassing. He ate his food, mine, and even stared at the food on other people's table like he was calculating how to ask for a small taste. Jesus Christ, I was mortified. I couldn't eat, couldn't talk. I just kept drinking water until my bladder started threatening to resign. That was my first disastrous date. Then there was this burial polo incident. This one is unforgettable. I had high hopes for this date. I dressed to kill. My makeup was flawless and I even borrowed my roommate's perfume. I got to the restaurant and saw him sitting there smiling like he had won a lottery. But the shock. He was wearing a souvenir burial polo. Yes, you heard that right. His dead grandma's face was boldly printed on the front with "Call to Glory" written in large yellow letters on the back. I thought I was being pranked. I couldn't even sit down. I just told him I was going to the restroom and left the restaurant, calling God to take control. When I got home, I cried. I cried so hard. But hunger knocked me into reality. I warmed the eba and banga soup I had cooked the day before, sat down on the bed and ate my pain away. By this time, I had convinced myself that my financial struggles were tied to my singleness. I believed if I found a rich boyfriend, I'd finally escape Sakpa because poverty was choking me. So I joined the dating sites. That was where I met Mr. Young, handsome, and allegedly rich. His profile picture looked like he belonged to one of those fine Instagram models that drive Benz and wear agbadas to weddings. I was already planning our wedding hashtag. When he asked me out on a date, I didn't even hesitate. Me wey hunger wan kill. The venue was one of those expensive restaurants where water cost more than a tank of petrol. I got there, called him on the phone and asked where our table was. That was when I noticed an old man in his late 60s waving at me with a wide toothless grin. I thought, God, please tell me this is not the man. Just tell me he's a waiter or, I don't know, some garbage guy. But no, it was him. The same man who had been looking like a zaddy on his profile now looks like he had just returned from collecting pension. Guys, I almost fainted. When I asked him why he looked nothing like his pictures, he said, "Oh, I told my grandson to Photoshop my young face onto a muscular model. I hear that's what you girls of this generation like." Can you imagine? The audacity. At least he admitted we weren't from the same generation. That's the only thing he got right. In my mind, I'm like, if Thunder no fire this man today, make I know why. After a series of laughable and heartbreaking disastrous dates, I finally snagged a boyfriend. His name was Collins. I say snagged because that's exactly what it felt like. Me when don't they suffer they come since. I don't finally catch fish. But this fish was rotting on the inside. Collins met at least half of my needs, emphasis on half. He was tall and spoke English like he just got out of the Bridgerton movie. He even had a car. It was a 2007 Toyota Corolla that groaned louder than a downfall on Third Mainland Bridge. But it was still a car for someone like me, broke, jobless, and constantly dodging my landlord. Collins felt like a jackpot. But as they say, not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes it's just brass coated in fool's hope. It started small. He came home late, smelling of women's perfume that could turn a cow. I'd confront him and he'd laugh it off like I was some character in a poorly written Nollywood drama. "Nkechi, stop being dramatic," he'd say, his mouth curling into that smirk I once found charming. Then one day he crossed the line. Collins brought a woman to the house. Our house. Scratch that. His house. I was courting. The girl was wearing a crop top so tight her ribs were screaming for freedom. Before I could open my mouth, Collins said, "Oh, that's my maid." Don't mind her. Me, maid. I blinked so hard I thought my lashes would fall off. I should have walked out that day, but where would I go? Back to my uncle's house where his wife treated me like her stepchild from hell. Guy. I sat there, my chest boiling with anger, watching them eat the food I cooked. Collins didn't even have the decency to look guilty. After she left, he handed me 10,000 naira as if I was a cashier at ShopRite. Go and buy yourself something nice, he said, patting my head like a dog. Buy yourself something nice with 10,000 naira. Well, I sure took the money. That was the beginning of my career as auntie maid. Every week a new girl would show up. Sometimes they were young, wide-eyed coppers. Other times they were women old enough to be my aunties. Collins never ran out of lies. I was the maid, the cousin from the village, or his late sister's best friend who was still mourning her death. Each time they left, he'd give me money or a gift. One time he bought me a blender. A blender! As if blending my paint into smoothie would make it easier for me to swallow. The worst day of all came when he introduced me as a living nanny. That girl had the audacity to ask me, "Auntie, how much does a guy pay you?" I wanted to scream in humiliation and heartbreak. Madam! Oh, I was in pain. But my pocket was in more pain. Every time I thought of leaving, I remembered my bank account balance, 3,259 naira 17 kobo. Even NEPA wouldn't take that from me. One evening, after he had gone out with one of his clients, I sat in the house, staring at the blender he had given me. Something snapped. I couldn't take this anymore. I couldn't keep pretending. The next time he brought a girl home, I'd speak my truth, even if it meant sleeping under Oshodi Bridge. Yes. The day came faster than I thought. He came in with a girl wearing 6-inch heels and a face beat so heavy. I wondered if she used meds. "This is my younger sister," he announced, nodding at me. Before I knew it, I stood up, clapping like I was at a praise night. "Sister K, Oga, tell her the truth. Me, I'm your maid, cousin, nanny. Which one am I doing today?" The girl's jaw dropped faster than a naira against the dollar. Collins froze like a rat caught in the rain. "Wait, what was happening here?" she asked, turning to him. "Ask your boyfriend though," I shouted. "Because me, I'm tired of blending lies and pretending. I've been the maid, the chef, the nanny, and even the cousin. Oga, abeg, I don't tire." The guest stormed out, and for the first time, Collins had nothing to say. That night, I packed my bags. As broke as I was, I had my pride. Maybe I would beg my uncle or even hustle to sell chin-chin, but one thing was sure. I wasn't staying one more day in that house of humiliation. As I walked out, I left the blender on the table, let him use it to blend his shattered ego. I wish I could say I walked into a better life, but the truth is, I ended up back at my friend Nkechi's house, sleeping on a mattress on the floor. But you know what? At least I wasn't Collins's maid anymore. After that, I decided to take a long, hard look at my life. I realized I was putting all my energy into finding a man, thinking he'd solve my problems. But the truth is, I needed to focus on myself. That night, I wrote a list of goals: get a job, save money, and build a life I could be proud of, boyfriend or not. It wasn't easy. I started small, working at a local office as a receptionist. From there, I learned new skills, got promoted, and eventually started my own small business. Slowly but surely, my life began to change. I no longer felt the need to rush into relationships. I was happy, confident, and self-sufficient. 2 years later, I met Emeka. No drama, no bearer polos, no fake pictures. Just a kind, funny, and honest man who loved me for me. Today we are engaged and I couldn't be happier. So, my people, here's my advice. Stop looking for someone to save you. Work on yourself, build your life, and trust that the right person will come at the right time. And please, if you ever see a man wearing a burial polo on a date, run, and don't look back.